Can y'all hear me? Press a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me. That is crazy. I was live for 2 minutes and that thing just now said that I'm live. I was sitting here talking for 2 minutes and nobody heard me. But let me repeat myself. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me. Now it says that I'm live. All right. I don't know what was going on. Like, I just happened to look back. I'm like, why doesn't it say anything? At first I thought I put the wrong information in and I was like, no, I have everything correct. And now it's just coming through 2 minutes later. And I was sitting there talking for like 2 whole minutes. But anyway, now I gotta repeat what I said. Welcome everybody to the Friday live stream. Y'all know how we do every single Friday. Make sure that y'all like this video, like the stream. Also, make sure that you share the stream on all social media platforms. We're going to be talking about various topics that occurred within the last week. Y'all know how we do every single week. Let's see, who do we have in here? We have Mark, Marie, Isaiah, DJ, Ashen, Tawana. What's going on? What is going on? What's going on, Stephanie? I hope everybody had a good day. I know I did. Yes, Ashen, season 2 finale of The Mandalorian was very good. I really enjoyed it. I think they might have saved the franchise with this one episode, to be quite honest. It needed it. What's going on, Lakeisha? Marie said you had to sit through an ad. Maybe that delayed you. Maybe, because when I went back on there, because the thing is, when I went back onto the little studio section, y'all can't see that. It just said going live and it had the little swirling circle right there. So I don't know, maybe it was buffering. I'm not sure. But now the good thing is now everything is pretty much working. What's going on? Letitia, Versatile, Legacy, Nikki, what's going on? I just watched the playback with you and Ashley. I just finished watching it. So, and by the way, I'm going to be over there on Jody's stream later on tonight because I got to wreck him again. What's going on, Jamal, with the spelling bee? What's going on, AK Sour Guy, Darlene? What's up? What's up? What's up? I don't know about y'all, where y'all are at, but it was very cold where I am this week. Not New York cold, but cold nonetheless. It snowed a couple days here. Not like how you got snow up in New York, but it did snow period. So I think winter is officially here. What's going on, Ashley? I was just telling Nikki that I watched the playback. I told you I was gonna watch it, and I just finished watching the playback before I started my stream. What's going on, Tina, Stephanie? I think I said what's up to you already. Janesta, what's up? What's going on? What's going on, Dana? Let's see, Pinky, JYB, what's up? What's going on? I'm going to get started in a little bit. Vulcan 2054, you said it's cold here too. Where are you located? Appreciate you sharing the stream, Ashley. Let's see. Oh, you said you in Brooklyn? Oh, yeah. New York, y'all, like I said, y'all should be used to that by now. I know when winter comes, it's the worst for y'all. We got a little flurry here and there earlier this morning, but nothing extreme, anything like that. I can't remember the last big snowstorm that we got here where I'm at. It was probably a few years ago. It wasn't long ago or anything like that, but it's been a while. Vogue usage in Alabama. Interesting. What's going on, Miss Cardio Queen? I appreciate that, Ashley. Tonda, what's going on? Candy, what's up? Great Black Shark, what's up? Alana, what's going on? I have to keep in mind that you are in the UK, Alana, so you're hours ahead of us for those of us who are here in the States. But it's dope that you are able to stay up to catch my stream, because you could easily say I got to catch the playback because it's late here and I can't stay up. What's going on, Hosea? Let's see. Who else is here? All right, still a few people coming in. Jamal, you said our biggest snowstorm was in 1996. I think the last big snowstorm that happened where I'm at, I was in college, so I dodged it because where I was at, which was in South Carolina, of course it wasn't snowing like that there. But where I'm at now in Maryland, it was a bad snowstorm, but luckily I didn't have to deal with it. And I think that was probably the last big storm that we had. It's fun when you're a kid, but when you're an adult, it's no fun. What's going on, Dee Dee? Yes, you did make it. Let's see. Pisces the King. Sonia C's. Ron Browns. Alani said it's only 9:07 p.m. I only struggle when you have the later premiere. Oh, okay. Janesta said you're cooking. What are you cooking, Janesta? I bet it's good and well seasoned. Let's see. UGM Beck, what's up? What's going on? Let's see. Well, I'm glad everybody is having a good day, a good Friday, a good week. A lot of stuff happened this week. Within the last week, some interesting stuff happened today that's actually going to coincide with one of the topics I'm going to talk about. It's probably one of the last topics I discuss, because y'all know I always like to leave that bigger topic for last, the one that people love to hear me talk about. Let's see here. Who else do we have? HRM Black Grinder First was going on. All right, I think I greeted enough people that have come in. Those of you who come a little bit later, if you missed something, you can catch the playback. So let's go ahead and get started with this first topic. And that is Charlie Pride. As you know, he is an iconic country singer, a country artist. He recently passed away this past week. I can honestly say I didn't really know too much about Charlie Pride, because I'm going to be honest, when someone had brought that to my attention, I was like, the name sounds so familiar, but I can't think to myself who that was. And then when they say he was a country singer, I said, you know what, let me go ahead and look him up. And he was a world-renowned musician. And he passed away on December 12th, 2020. You know, we losing our icons. You know, and it's crazy because we have been seeing so much death in the last week than I think we probably seen in this entire year alone. And there's been a lot of unfortunate passings that have happened this past week. It says that he was an American singer, guitarist, and professional baseball player. Oh, I didn't know that. It says his greatest musical success came in the early to mid 1970s when he was best-selling performer for RCA Records since Elvis Presley. It says that he had 3 children, and the woman he was married to, he was married to up until the day he died. Married her in 1956. But you know what's unfortunate? You know, by me not knowing much about him, that's a testament to how much of our history and how much of our art form has been, how can I put it, eclipsed by certain people. Because, you know, when it came to country music and everything like that, we've always seen that if you grow up in a certain time, you always saw it as a more of a white art form, because it's mainly white artists who are in country. But when you look back a little bit deeper, then you find out that it was some black artists that was involved in the country music scene as well. And he was one of them, a pioneer to be exact. Right, AK Sour God. That's a better word, hijacked. But you know, it's unfortunate, and hopefully, wow, I don't watch the CMAs. I barely watch any award shows nowadays, to be quite honest. But I think it would do them a disservice if they don't have some kind of a tribute to him in their next award show. And they can pick one or do both of them, because they have so many country music awards, it's not even funny. But with that being said, RIP to Charlie Pride. And we have to move on to another person who passed away. Now, this one did not get any type of news attention, and I know why it didn't. Can someone in the chat tell me who this man is? I want to see if somebody knows who this is. I'm want to see if anybody can recognize who this person is down in the chat. Ashen says Marcus Garvey Jr. What's going on, Jameson? HRM Black Grinder first said Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey Jr. Okay. So in case y'all didn't know, no, Sonya, Aaron Neville didn't die. He's still alive. But the person in this picture is Marcus Garvey Jr. And I didn't even know, I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't know Marcus Garvey had children, because they really never talked about his personal life. They never really talked about his, any spouses he had or any children he had. They just mainly focused on Marcus Garvey. But Marcus Garvey, he too just recently passed this past week. He was 90. He was 90 years old, so he lived a very long life. Now, this is a more younger picture of him. Clearly, that's not him at 90, but that's a younger picture of him right there. And they said he died from complications due to Alzheimer's. And this one hits close to home for me because I had a grandmother who passed back in 2008, who was around the same age as him passing, because she was in her like mid to late 80s, and she passed from complications due to Alzheimer's. And I'm telling you right now, dealing with someone who has Alzheimer's, it takes a toll on the family who has to be around them constantly. Trust and believe, especially when I was younger, my grandmother had to come and live with me and my family because they knew she was not going to be well enough to be off by herself, where she was from, which was in South Carolina. And she lived by herself because, her husband passed, her children were clearly grown, and it was just her. So we decided to have her move in with us, to be close, also to be closer to most of her family. And we started to see the signs then, but we really didn't know what was going on until, my parents took her to see doctors and specialists and everything like that. And they just basically flat out told her that my mom's mother, that she said, your mother has Alzheimer's. And, with Alzheimer's, it doesn't get better. It just keeps progressing and gets worse. And it has stages as it goes along. And it's sad because it's especially if it's a person that you're used to having conversations with, and then all of a sudden they forget what they said, even maybe an hour ago. They may forget their name. They may forget who you are and all types of stuff. And then it just gets worse and worse and worse until it takes over your body, and then it just kills you. But she passed back in 2008. I was 19 when it happened, and it happened right at the beginning of my sophomore year of college. So I can only imagine what that's like. And I wonder what it's like to be in the mindset of someone who has Alzheimer's, because I couldn't imagine what that is like for a person who has it. Right, PD Chicago, he says it's like watching a slow death. Yep. It's that's the best way that you can put it. And exactly, Sonya, it comes without warning. It's like cancer. And there's no cure for it. So it's once you have it, that's pretty much it. And it can only get worse. But anyway, RIP to Marcus Garvey Jr. His father was definitely a huge pioneer for black people, especially black people in America. And it's crazy because his dad wouldn't be considered would not be considered a black American, but he was definitely for black people. And that's rare to find nowadays. That's why he's held in such high regard, because he had a plan. Unfortunately, the plan wasn't able to be executed the way that he wanted it to be. But at least his memory will definitely live on. Is definitely one of the freedom fighters for us. And that's a fact. What's going on, talking and grubbing? All right, well, now that we've gotten out of that portion of the of this stream, let's head into the the sheer ignorance. So Lil Wayne, I don't know how to categorize him as far as his mindset goes. But in case y'all have not heard, he well, let's start at the beginning. Lil Wayne, he recently got into some legal issues in which he was arrested, and I think he was brought up on federal charges for basically doing the same dumb thing over and over and over again. At this point, you gotta, you know how they always say you gotta leave them where they are at. He's an example of that, especially when people have been trying to tell him look, do this, do that, do this, and you just continue to do the opposite. That's where he kind of falls into it. But that comes from years of not taking care of yourself and doing, crazy things and, dare I say, narcotics. And that will mess you up. Yes, Miss Cardio Queen, he is facing 10 years for some charges. Some miscellaneous charges, I will say that. But also on top of that, which is the main reason why I wanted to come on here and talk about him today, because if it was just about him getting those Fed charges, I wouldn't have made him a topic. But this most recent thing that came out is crazy. In case y'all have not heard, the Universal Music Group, UMG, just acquired Young Money's catalog for over $100 million. In that catalog is all of Lil Wayne's music. I said, are you kidding me? I said, are you kidding me? I said, did you just sell your masters to the Universal Music Group for $100 million? Did you forget that you have kids? Do you realize how hard it is for a black artist to get their masters? And you have yours. Not have, had, because it's past tense now. You had your masters. And you sold it to UMG for $100 million. Were you that hurt for money? And Bump being hurt for money, think of your offspring. That's how they were able to eat for so long. Let me read to y'all a little bit of what it says. It says Lil Wayne reportedly sold Young Money catalog along with his masters. So not only did he sell his masters, he sold Young Money's masters, which is the group. So you basically sold everything. There's nothing left. And like I said, do you know how hard it is for black artists to get their masters? And you had not only yours, but you also had the Young Money catalog. Good luck getting that back. And they're not going to give it back. And the fact that they parted ways for $100 million, that means they saw value in that. And they're going to go out and get more money off of it. Let's see. It says Lil Wayne made headlines last week when it was announced that he sold his masters for $100 million back in June. So he did this back in the summer. And it's just now coming out in December. But new reports claim he gave away more than rights to his music. According to Music Business Worldwide, a pending lawsuit reveals that No Ceilings rapper Settlement also sold Young Money's entire... Let me say it again. He also sold Young Money's entire catalog to Universal Music Group. Not just a song, but the entire catalog. We're talking about well over a decade worth of music. Gone. Again, I say, do you know how hard it is for a black artist to get their catalog and to get their and hold their masters? One story that keeps coming to mind was Michael Jackson getting Little Richard's catalog and giving it to him for free. It's hard getting it to get that, to have all of your property rights. What's going on, Jordan? And I bet you it was worth way more than $100 million. Right? Sonya said his music and films, commercials, he said elevators. Yeah. Because it's more than just, I'm sure it's more than just music in there. And you sold all of that to UMG. If you want to know something, UMG is a huge reason as to why people on YouTube cannot play music in their videos without the risk of getting a copyright infringement or a strike. Not a copyright infringement, but a copyright claim. It's mainly because of UMG. If you go on to a lot of these YouTube channels who play music, and if you click the description and you scroll down, 9 times out of 10, if a copyright is in there somewhere, it's going to say UMG next to it. And when that comes up, that video cannot be monetized, which means the creator of said video cannot make money off of that video, even if it's a very good video worth making money off of. It says the suit reads plaintiffs are informed and believe that subsequent to Sweeney's termination as Wayne's manager, specifically in or about June of 2020, Lil Wayne was able to sell the Young Money's masters to Universal Music Group for in excess of $100 million. So basically, after Lil Wayne fired his manager, based on what I'm reading, that's when he made the decision to go ahead and sell the masters in the catalog. So it sounds like to me, his manager, and I'm just guessing, was trying to prevent him from doing it. And because he felt he was holding him back from doing it, he did it anyway. It says Wayne helped to develop the careers of Nicki Minaj, Drake, and Tyga when he signed them to Young Money Records. Over the years, the artist released multiple projects under the label. Just under 2 of those names, I can't really speak for Tyga, but just under 2 of those names, Nicki Minaj and Drake, how many records combined do you think those 2 sold under Young Money? Those were 2 of their biggest artists besides Wayne himself at the time. I mean, when they came out, they had not money. They had records popping up everywhere. And you sold all of that to UMG. If I was not going to put this story into this live stream today, he would have definitely got a DNU. He would have more than deserved it. It says Drake's albums before and including 2018 Scorpion, for example, were released under Wayne's record label, but all other participants since have come out under his own imprint, October's very own. Nicki's entire catalog, including Queen, has been released under Young Money, and as for Tyga, he stopped dropping music with the label since he decided to release his 4th studio album, the Gold Album, 18th Dynasty, independently. Now, let's say, for instance, that Nicki Minaj, because she says that she's retired from rapping, she doesn't rap anymore. If all of her music is in that catalog and she wanted to get it back, she would have to go to UMG and fight them tooth and nail to get her music back because he doesn't have it anymore. And good luck doing that because they're not going to be as willing to give as he would have been. I think it's the fact to me that he not only did he sell his music, it's one thing that he sold his music, but he also sold everybody else's stuff too. And I think that's what makes it even more worse. AK Sour God says Tyga was smart as fuck. I remember when he was disgruntled. Yeah, he is smart to have pulled out before it was too late. It says Wayne's decision to sell his masters as well as the Young Money catalog comes at a time when artists are trying to obtain the rights to their masters. Exactly. They trying to get their stuff and he's selling it. It's easier to sell than to receive. It's artists that fight for years trying to get their intellectual property. But it doesn't take long to sell it. I wonder how long the process for this was. I bet you it probably didn't even last a month. Miss Cardio Queen says, would Nicki have the money to buy it? Good question. Because remember, the whole catalog got sold for $100 million. She was a big artist at one time. So you know they're going to, if she wants it back, if she wants her property back so she can own her stuff, they're going to make her pay a pretty penny for it. I don't know what her net worth is, but you got to think, Nicki hasn't been rapping or put out an album in the last couple of years. She only really does her podcasting now or her radio show now. It says Kanye West particularly had a hard time trying to buy his masters back from Universal, prompting one of his social media rants. I need to see everybody contracts at Universal and Sony, West tweeted. I'm not going to watch my people be enslaved. I'm putting my life on the line for my people. The music industry and the NBA are the modern day slave ships. I'm the new Moses. My kids are going to own my masters, he continued in a follow-up tweet. As crazy as Kanye can be and sound sometimes a broke clock is right twice a day, because he actually was on point when he said that. Like, I don't know what. I have no more words. Like, that was it was a dumb and a rotten thing to do. Dumb on his part to even consider doing it and actually doing it, but also rotten at the same time that you also had other people's stuff in there and you sold it as well. And I'm willing to bet he did not have one conversation with any of those other artists before he made that decision. He just went ahead and did it and said, well, I can do it because my name is right here. And because I have it, it's in my name, I can go ahead and sell it. And they can't, and I don't have to consult with you about it. But that's messed up, though. That's messed up. What's going on, True Royal? But let me get off of him and move to the next person. And that is Ashanti. Y'all probably like, what's going on with Ashanti? Hold on, y'all. Well, how many people are familiar with the Versus thing that they have on Instagram? If in case y'all don't know what Versus is, it's basically something that kicked off when quarantine was going on, where you had different artists, whether new or from back in the day, who were on the same level as each other, and they basically have them battle it out with various songs that people that they came out with in their careers. You had people who sang, you had people that rapped, and it was basically black people that was doing it for the most part, and still are doing it right now. Well, the most recent one that was supposed to happen was Keisha Cole versus Ashanti. That was the most recent one, and a lot of people were geared up and ready to go and want to watch it and everything. Like, this one right here was very hyped up. This one was very hyped up because Ashanti had some hits back in the day. Keisha Cole had some hits back in the day. Ashanti and Keisha Cole are more of my teenage era, because when Ashanti came out, I was like maybe 13. When Keisha Cole came out, I was in high school. So they were about to have it out. And then all of a sudden, on Saturday, I think it was last Saturday, when it was about to happen, literally like an hour or two before it occurred, Ashanti came out and made a statement on video that she contracted COVID-19. And I was one of the first people to see that, and I said, uh-oh, this just became even awkward, because a lot of people were looking to see this happen. And then that's when all the theories. I don't want to say conspiracy theories. That's when all the theories started to come out. And people were wondering, A, does she actually have the virus? Or B, is she faking it to get out of it? So it was a mixed bag of whether she had it or had it. But when it comes to something like this, you don't want to come out right and say that she's faking it, because she could very well actually contracted it. But people question the timing. It's not like she said she had it like 2 days before. She says she got it 2 hours before. So that's why people are questioning whether or not she was being genuine when she said she had contracted it. But you know what? Even if if she does have it, I'm sure hopefully she's recovering nicely and everything like that. And they can always reschedule it. It's not like they don't have to have it. They can always reschedule it. But people were really looking forward to that. Someone had made a joke and said, well, if Ashanti came on there, all she would have did was say, she wrote this, I wrote that, I produced this, produced that. And I know that I'm seeing a lot of people write J-Lo's name in there. Listen, J-Lo owes a good chunk of the early part of her career to Ashanti. I was watching a video on YouTube a while ago, probably a couple months ago, where they were showing or playing all the different songs that J-Lo came out with over the years and everything. And a lot of the songs that J-Lo had back in the day, especially in the early 2000s when she was really at the top of her game, a lot of those songs were either written or sang by Ashanti. Some of those songs were songs that was for Ashanti to be released by her. But they put J-Lo out there because J-Lo was like the exotic Latina that they really wanted to push out there. She had that look that they wanted to push out there. And I'm like, Ashanti is very attractive. I'm glad she got rid of them sideburns, but Ashanti is very attractive. Yeah, Ashanti has a very good pen game. Meaning she's a very good writer, producer. Her voice is not the strongest, but she's good everywhere else. Oh yeah, there's videos on YouTube that shows that J-Lo has been lip syncing a lot over the years, and her voice changes every single time. Like, it's never consistent, to the point where people didn't really know how J-Lo really sounded. As a matter of fact, I'll give y'all another little tidbit, and this is actually away from Ashanti, but it does involve J-Lo. Who remembers when J-Lo came out with her very first single? Her very first single in 1999 called If You Had My Love. That was the song that kind of put her on the map outside of her being in Selena. Who remembers that song? It was a song that came out in 1999, and basically the story behind it is this. Rodney Jenkins, who was a very big producer back in the 90s. He produced for a lot of artists back in the day. He, as a matter of fact, Brandy owes a lot of her career to him, especially like the teenage year, well, the later teen years of her life. He actually did a song, Jalil, you got it right. It was a song that Rodney Jenkins did for Shantae Moore. And I heard Shantae's version of the song. It wasn't If You Had My Love. It was another song, but it was the same exact beat. It was a little bit different. And her song actually came out before J-Lo. But see, Shantae Moore did not have that push. That she didn't have that machine to push her out there like that. Then in comes Diddy. He heard the track and he says, I want that song for Jennifer. And Rodney was like, I don't know. The song's already done. It's already out there. And this was right at the beginning of the song getting onto the radio. Y'all can actually go look the song up online. Just type, if you type Shantae Moore, If You Had My Love in there, you can go and find it. It's not called If You Had My Love, but people associated with that song. But I think Diddy had paid him some money under the table. Oh, you said it is Jerkins. Thank you, Jerkins. I thought it was Jenkins. Rodney Jerkins. He probably paid him some money under the table, and Rodney went in. They recorded the track. They switched the beat up a little bit, but it's the same exact beat, and they switched the lyrics out, and then that's how you got that song. I'll give y'all another one, and y'all may know this one. A. Marie. This is a famous one right here. A. Marie. A. Marie's one of her. A. Marie, that first album is just phenomenal. But A. Marie's biggest song is One Thing. The story behind that is they recorded the song and everything like that. J-Lo and her team heard the song, and they recorded the same song. They recorded the same song. The same exact song, same beat, same lyrics. A. Marie and her team got wind of it just in time. They went to a radio station and had them leak the song. Yes, One Thing was a song that was supposed to just be released organically, but they had to leak the song because J-Lo and her team were about to release their version of the same song after they stole it. Let's just keep it what it is. After they stole it from her. And let's be real here. It wouldn't have sounded the same coming from J-Lo because A. Marie, one thing about her sound is her sound was consistent. She had a because A. Marie's from the DMV area, and the DMV area go-go is the sound, and especially in DC. And it would not have sounded right coming from J-Lo. So A. Marie and her team had to leak the song, and that was the best thing they could have did because that song right there was her biggest song. She had other songs too. That's why I said that first album was phenomenal, like that Why Don't We Fall in Love? I didn't think she could really top that, but she did with One Thing. And One Thing became like her bread and butter song right there. But she had to leak her own song to avoid J-Lo and her team stealing it. Like, they did a whole video about this on YouTube. And those two stories that I just gave you are in there, but there's plenty more. Y'all can go and check it out if you want to. Some of you in the chat, y'all know the stories because y'all probably watched the same video I did. But I believe A. Marie should have been a bigger artist than what she is. Like, unfortunately, she just didn't get the push that she should have. I did know that the One Thing song was on the Hitch soundtrack. I did know that. Jalil 1840 said Deborah Laws actually sued J-Lo for using her song. Very special for her song All I Have with LL Cool J. And that's a classic song, not the one they did, but I'm talking about the original song. And when I first heard that song, I immediately knew what it was, but I couldn't think of who the singer was. But yeah, J-Lo been stealing for years. For years. Notice J-Lo doesn't do the type of music now that she did then. She got her way up by stealing from black artists. And now she makes the music she really wants to. And she probably didn't steal that. But it is what it is. But if they should reschedule this versus, I'm sure that they're gonna wait until see if Ashanti is well before they actually do it, because the versus actually requires the artists to be in the same room with each other. So that's why they had to cancel it. DJ, you said Amory's second album was good. That was the album that had One Thing on it, her second album. But that first album, that All I Have album, you can play that album frontwards and backwards and not skip a song. But yeah, let me move off of this. I stayed on this a little bit longer than I was supposed to or than I wanted to. But I just had to get that out there. Oh, speaking of from talking about J-Lo now to talking about these two. Oh, you see this filth on the screen? Not me. I'm talking about the picture above me. So, y'all see it. Where to begin with this? Time magazine has labeled Mr. Touchy Feely and Clown Mala as Times Persons of the Year. I can honestly say I do not agree with that decision. And I think many others can agree with that as well, because why? I'm like, with all the stuff that has occurred this year, you chose those two because they are the president and vice president elect. I'm gonna ask the chat because I want some chat participation with this. Who do y'all think, and it could be more than one person, who do y'all think could have been qualified or should have been qualified to be Times People or Persons of the Year? Ms. Carter said, what did they do to deserve that title? Just win the election. That's it. But I want to know from y'all, who do y'all think should have been qualified to be Time Persons of the Year? Because these two ain't it. They are not it. Sonya says Con Artist of the Year. Dana Vixen said the first responders. That's actually one of the first people that came to mind. What's up, Jay Lethal? I saw your video, by the way. The front workers, George Floyd, Ice Cube, essential workers, LeBron. 70 said me. The essential workers, the doctors and nurses, the protest in May, Rizza Islam. Alana said, I'm going to sit this one out. A collage of essential workers, Breonna Taylor, new black media. That'll never happen. Doctors and nurses, essential workers. Okay, I'm seeing a pattern here. Doctors, nurses, frontline workers, essential workers. I do believe they should have been on the cover. I believe they should have been on the cover. And I believe they should have been on the cover. Or maybe what they could have did was have more than one cover. Like I saw people say George Floyd, I saw Breonna Taylor. They could have had more than one cover. But these two right here, I don't agree with. I don't agree with. Miss Carter Queen says George Floyd unleashed a consciousness worldwide. He did. His protest, like his death, sparked a worldwide protest that people have never seen before. So yes, I do agree that George Floyd could have been a contender or a nominee for that cover. Gnome King says, well, thanks for the super chat. You said, don't forget about us security guards. I'm assuming that you were an essential worker. Yes, definitely. Essential workers too, because the essential workers had to work through this. You may not have been a doctor or a nurse or anything like that working in a hospital, but if you were an essential worker, it means you had to go to work and be around people during this pandemic. Now, here's the crazy part. I used to work at an airport. Airport is an essential job. You have to go in, unless you're calling out sick or you're going on vacation. Other than that, you have to be there. But of course, I don't work there anymore. But I haven't worked there in well over a year. But that was before this happened. And who knows how many jobs got cut since then. Shout out to all the essential workers. Shout out to all the frontline workers. All the people who had to fight and deal with this pandemic since March. All of them people, in my opinion, and then some we probably can't think of at the moment, deserve that cover more than they did, in my honest opinion. All they did was win an election and talk crap about black people. Maybe that's why they got on there. Maybe that's why they ended up on there. Besides them being president and vice president elect, maybe that's why they got on there, because they talk crap about us. And speaking of work, I actually went back to uh my part time yesterday for the first time since March. Now, mind you, I work in an arena where basketball games and hockey games and stuff like that are played and usually have concerts. Of course, there are no concerts this season because of COVID-19, and there's no fans in the stands. So it was interesting to see, what that was like. It's a lot of changes. Shout out to you, Art, for the super chat. Stephanie said, I lost my job and the person that took over after me developed the virus and after he left and died. That's crazy. Wow. That's. Well, sorry on both fronts to that person and also to you for losing your job. That's another thing. A lot of people lost their jobs this year. Unemployment. I could not work for unemployment this year. I couldn't. It would be a nightmare. I could not. He said NBA games probably feel like high school games right now. Yeah, they look like scrimmage games, just with no people. The only people that was there are the people that work there and the media and the coaches and the managers, and that's about it. You said I got a thumbs down. Listen, I'm used to it. As long as the likes eclipse the thumbs down, that's good. But yeah, if y'all have not hit that like button, make sure y'all do that. Like I said, when you hit the like button and you have enough likes, it triggers the algorithm to spread the video or the stream even further. But yeah, these two right here, I do not agree. I think we can all collectively say that we do not agree with the choice they made to put those two on the cover. Sonya sees that Canadians still getting $2,000 a month. Wow. Meanwhile, they trying to struggle to pay out $600 here. But yeah, Josie said esports are getting a boost during this crisis. Yeah, some good things I guess you could say came out of it. Some people created their own businesses online or whatever, and found a come up during all of this. So some people did fairly well even with this crisis, this pandemic still going on. But I think we can all agree that these two don't deserve to be on the cover. Moving on from that. So we're going from president-elect and vice president-elect to this. They came back, y'all. They came back. And by they, I'm talking about those idiots who came down for the who came to this area, well, in DC more than anything, for another rally that looked more like a cult event than anything. And those, in case y'all don't know who that is, those are the Proud Boys right there. Shout out to Takara for the Cash App. Those are the Proud Boys, the ones that's in yellow. And I saw a very image that I can't get out of my head, where you had these Proud Boys. Shout out to you, Kevin, for the super chat. I never bought the Time magazine. I don't even have a subscription to them. I don't have a subscription to any magazine, to be quite honest, because magazines are pretty much obsolete. But yeah, they had some kind of demonstration down in DC again, where you had the Proud Boys, out there, and they had some kind of imagery where they had, I'll just go ahead and say it. They had wrote something on their butt and they was wearing, they'll call it a kilt, but it looked more like a skirt to me. And they lifted their kilt up and took a picture of it. I can't remember what it said. I really don't. I'm like, what what was y'all trying to prove? What was the goal there? And because I had watched some of the stream of this event while it was live, and one of the most cringiest things that I heard was Mike Flynn's wife up there singing "God Bless America." It was absolutely horrific. I think that was his wife. I tried to find the video so y'all could hear it, but it was horrible. It was horrible. Appreciate the super chat, Akira. She said this call had no DTs on them at all. And then they kept trying to say, it doesn't matter if you don't know how to sing, just sing anyway. None of them knew how to sing. Alexia said F Antifa. Somehow I can believe that, but like I said, I wasn't looking hard enough to try to read it. All I could see was it was just a nasty display. That's okay, Wayne. Whatever you missed, you can go and listen to the playback. It was just horrible. And when they was asking people different questions, you can tell these individuals that their education didn't exceed past a certain grade level. Like, I bet you that many of the people that came to that event drove there in their home. Like, they probably pulled the blocks from underneath their home, rotated them tires, gassed up that engine, and drove here from their trailer park. But it was so cringy. And then they had like all kinds of like priests and pastors and all types of stuff out there saying, if you just donate so and so to this, your spirit will go to heaven when you're deceased. Remember, this is for God and Jesus and Trump. No, this is for money. Sonya said they sounded he sounded worse than Ben Carson's wife. Yes, because at least with her, she only sang by herself. With them, it was a group. And so when you have a group and there's more voices, it sounds horrible. And then had the nerve to want to sing it twice. They said, we already did it once, we're going to do it again. I'm like, no, please don't do it again. But the part about this event, outside of what I just told you, was what happened that night. When you had some members of the Proud Boys had went to not one, but two black churches. And let you know how, this is how you know, if y'all don't know how a black church is, just do it like this. If the church says AME Zion or Methodist in the name, 9 times out of 10 is a black church. And I know one of those churches had a Methodist in his name. But anyway, one of the churches had a Black Lives Matter banner on the church. They went to the church and they snatched down the banner. Now let's be real here. If this was over in North Korea, they would have gotten, what was it, 18 years of harsh punishment. What happened? Remember Otto Warmbier, who went over there and decided he was going to snatch down that banner? And they sentenced him to 18 months or 18 years of harsh punishment. He didn't last a whole year. They wrecked him in more ways than one. And they went over there, they snatched down the banner, and then they burned it. And, you know, it was all caught on camera and everything like that. Now, you know me. I don't care about BLM. And y'all know why. I've said and aired out my grievances about this organization on my channel for I don't know how long. But what gives you the right to go to any city, keep in mind, those people who came there, I bet you none of them are from this area. I guarantee it. Most of them or all of them are from out of town. But what gives you the right to go to someone else's property? Because that banner was on their property. So it's their property. To go on their property and take from their property and vandalize it. Because that's what it was. I don't know if I've even heard the word vandalize when it came to what they did. All they said was, oh, they stole it down, they took it down, and they burned it. I said, y'all not going to go the distance and call it vandalizing? Because then that means they would have to call them thugs. They would have to call them gangsters. They didn't call them that. But that also shows you right there, they have no regard for anybody else's stuff. But then have the nerve to say, you're ruining our nation. When you say you, exactly who are you talking about is the question. Because many could say you are ruining the nation. Like I said, the reasons we have issues with BLM is way different than why they have issues with BLM. Our issues with BLM is more of they're trying to keep black men out of the family, and they're trying to change the status quo of the family structure. And because we know it has an agenda attached to that academy. Their issue with BLM is because it has the word black in it. Theirs is more from a racial standpoint. But I'll tell you this, though. I know for a fact they were not going to cross into Anacostia with that. Me and LVZ always talk about this all the time. Whenever we talk about this type of stuff right here, they weren't going to come into crossing Anacostia. They wasn't about to get on that green line. They were not about to do that. They know where to go. They know they're safe down in that area. And here's the thing. Their protest has a perimeter, or their little rallies or whatever has a perimeter. They cannot go outside of that perimeter. The minute that they went over and did that to that church or both of those churches, they went outside of the bounds of the perimeter they were supposed to not go into. And guess what I heard, like, when it came to this? They said on January 20th, which is the day of the inauguration, they said they plan on coming back here again. Now, I don't care about that inauguration. I know I'm not watching it. I'm going to hear about it, but I'm not watching it. Because I don't care to watch it. I don't care. But like I said, you know how we keep saying how the people who voted for Biden and Harris, how this is who they voted for and what we're going to do. That's what they're going to have to deal with for 4 years. We're also going to have to deal with that for 4 years, for 4 more years. They're not going to stop. They're going to keep on going because in their minds, 45 won. 45 won. In their head, he's still their president. Get this. Obama has not been president for 4 years. I don't see or hear black people going around with, what was his slogan? See, I forgot. Yes, we can. You don't see them walking around with yes, we can posters from 2008 in 2020. Or hope posters in 2020. He did his time and we had to move on and we had to adjust to 45. They, on the other hand, that's a different breed right there. Because, see, this shows you right there that 45 gave them something. And they are scared to, I'm going to use a word from Dr. Khalid Muhammad. And shout out to the 1LVZ for constantly putting that in my face. They are scared to goddamn death of what's to come. That's why they're out there all the time. It's rather sad and pathetic to see. No, seriously, I'm not watching it. I am not watching that inauguration. I'm serious. Like I said, I'm gonna hear about it because people are naturally gonna send me stuff. I already know. Like I'm calling it now. People are gonna send me articles, send me videos, and on social media, you can't help but see certain things. But I do not plan to sit there and watch that thing. I have better. I will listen. I will have better things to do with my time on that day. Just like the reason why, I'm glad you brought that up, Isaiah. The reason why they don't like Biden and Harris is a different reason why we don't like him. We know why we don't like them, but why they don't like them is different from why we don't like them. That's why I like when it comes to conversations about Biden and Harris and why I don't like them. I could never have that conversation with them. I could never talk to them about that because they'll be like, "Yes, I knew you were." No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You didn't know shit. The reason why I don't like them is way different than why you don't. And we're going to keep it at that. That's how you know there's a big separation and a big divide between us right now. And has been and always will be. The United States of America is just a title. It's not really what it is. And that's a message more so to the outsiders looking in. But yeah, like I said, we have to deal with Biden and Harris for 4 years, and we have to deal with this crap for 4 years as well. Let me talk about this, and I think this is the big one right here that people wanted to talk about, and that is this chemical in a vial, or chemical in a syringe, I should say. And that's this vaccine. This thing has been getting more and more buzz lately, especially this week, because this week is the week that they have decided to roll out that vaccine in America. Starting with the healthcare workers and working their way on down. I still can't get over the fact that that woman's name is Kizzy. I remember when Kimberly Frazier, and shout out to her, had did a video about her, and she said her name. I said, Kizzy? Like on Roots? And she's a doctor? And she actually prefers to be called that? But the COVID-19 vaccination has officially been rolled out into America, and they have literally been putting people, especially a lot of black people, on display. I'm gonna get to that, Alana, because that happened today. A few things happened today involving that vaccine, but we're gonna talk about it. They've been rolling out this vaccine, and notice that they keep putting up a lot of black people getting this vaccine. But many of the black people that I've seen who has gotten it, I don't think they're American born. That's what a lot of people have noticed, is that they're not American born. And they keep putting it out there and everything like that. And I had to watch a video from Jay Lethal, and I think I posted it up in my community tab, that this has historical symbolism in a more of a recyclical thing. Meaning when they did the Tuskegee experiment with syphilis, they said they got a black woman who was a doctor. I forgot her name. I think her name was Eunice. And she was the one that helped usher in the vaccine, if you want to call it that, for that. Now, fast forward to now, you have Kizzy, Dr. Kizzy, doing the same thing. And y'all saw the video I just did about the CEO of Pfizer saying that, well, we don't want to cut the line with people getting a vaccine. I said, you just told on yourself. What line is there for you to cut? You are the CEO of this vaccine. You don't have to wait in a line. The line waits on you. But notice, and I said it in my video, I bet you that they're not going to talk about this much in mainstream media. It's only going to be regulated to an internet article. I have yet to see them talk about it on the news. And I saw people online cheering on Kizzy. Oh my God, it's a black woman and she's giving a shot to another black woman. I'm like, okay. Then you had Dr. Fauci basically come out and say, and by the way, all the stuff that I'm saying right now, most of it came from Jay Lethal's video when he talked about this. And he was basically saying like, what is it going to take for black people to want to take this vaccine because of the historical context behind it? He said, well, we have a black woman or a black doctor, a black female doctor who developed the vaccine, and we can get celebrities and all types of entertainers. And shout out to you, Noam King, for the super chat. For her, yeah, Eunice Rivers Lori. We can go out there and we can get these entertainers and all types of stuff like that to take it. And that'll make them want to do it. He just blew open the lid that many people in our community have been talking about for years. They get these entertainers and these celebrities to do certain things to sway us to doing whatever because they think that we are just completely entrenched in entertainment, gossip, drama, and all of that stuff. Appreciate the super chat, Caressa. That's crazy. I don't trust this vaccine. I've heard so many horror stories. First was in the UK where you had them messing the dosages up. Then you go over to Australia where they're giving out false HIV positive test results. Then the most recent one I'm hearing is people getting Bell's palsy from this. In case y'all don't know what Bell's palsy is, it's basically borderline stroke territory. Town Biz did a video last night where he was talking about how a few years ago he had got Bell's palsy and it made his mouth go crooked. Of course, clearly it wasn't from this. I don't know what it was from. So when people saying that they felt like a part of their face was drooping, that's Bell's palsy. That's a symptom of it. Yes, people's faces being paralyzed. That's Bell's palsy. And they said that was a side effect from this vaccine. But what I also said is that they are not going to tell you all the side effects from people having it. Because Ian McKellen, if y'all don't know who he is, he's the actor that portrayed Magneto in the earlier X-Men films. He took the vaccine and he said it made him feel euphoric. And instantly he started trending on Twitter. I said I knew that they were going to do that. They're going to go and get to the people who are feeling good and everything like that. And they're going to constantly, and they're going to push that. Thank you, Noam King, for the super chat. And also thank you, Art, for the super chat as well. They both came through around the same time. But three things happened today. Jay Lethal said, did you see the fake injection? I saw the video on your page and something did seem off about it when I looked at it. And I was like, why is the needle wiggling like that? The needle should not be wiggling. The needle should be real stiff. I would not trust something that looks like that. But three things happened today. And I was at the gym today and I was on the treadmill getting my cardio in and I could see it on the screen. Mike Pence and the Attorney General, I think that's the Attorney General. No. Who is that guy? That black bald-headed guy that was talking about the grandmothers a couple months ago, and we had to go in on his little bill-looking ass. I forgot what his name was. He was talking down on black people too. But anyway, they quote unquote took the vaccine today, in front of the world. It was televised because the TV that I saw it on, it was on CNN, and they quote unquote took the vaccine. Thank you, Jordan. Jerome Adams. Yeah, him. They took the vaccine today, or so they say. The Surgeon General. Thank you. Thank you, Vulcan 2054. I knew it was one of them generals. But yeah, they took it, and then Mike Pence had gave some kind of speech, and I couldn't hear it because, like I said, I was in the gym, so the volume on the TVs are muted, and I couldn't understand. I couldn't read out what he was saying. But there was one video in particular that went out today that is making its rounds, where you had this nurse. It was a white nurse who had the vaccine, or she got the injection. They put it in her. Then she went up to the podium and started to talk. He started talking. Her speech started to get a little flustered, a little bit slurred. She put her hand up to her head like she was out of it. And right there in front of everybody, she fainted. Who saw that video? I'm gonna see if I can pull a video up so y'all can see it. All right, here it is right here.
I did, yes. So, all of my staff, we are excited to get the vaccine. We are in the COVID unit, so therefore, my team will be getting first chances to get the vaccine. And I know that it's really, sorry, I'm feeling really dizzy here. Sorry.
And that's pretty much it right there. Now, when she came to, they pretty much, like someone said in the chat, that they probably had her say something along the lines of when she usually has pain or she feels pain, she will faint or anything like that, which is so predictable. We knew that they was gonna have someone say something along the lines of, oh, she has this or she has something else. It wasn't from the vaccine. Well, how ironic that she faints like that after taking it. DJ said she tried to clean it up. She said she suffers from a medical condition that causes her to faint, supposedly. Yeah, they probably told her to say that too. Appreciate the super chat, Shin Terrell. But yeah, Stephanie, you said that they surprised they didn't cut the camera off as soon as she started talking funny. They probably mad at the person for not cutting the camera off. Then of course you had some people that said that they think she was faking it. I honestly don't think she was faking it. Me personally, I don't think she was faking it. Senior 34 said BS, she would be fainting all the time. Exactly. She would never be able to stand. Like she would, it's like if you're going to work, just put her in a wheelchair. If you think she's going to faint, at least if she's in a wheelchair and she passes out, she's in a chair. But yeah, that wasn't from no pain. We know what it was from. We know exactly what it was from. They're gonna try to insult our intelligence. Yeah, right. But yeah, I don't trust this vaccine as far as I can throw it. They probably like, if you just hold on a little bit longer, please don't faint right now. Let us get through this story. Let us get through these little questions. And if you feel like passing out, we'll turn the camera off and you can just lay right here. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Now, one last thing I wanted to talk about, I didn't put a slide up here for it. Speaking of people popping off, I was going to do a video about it. But I said, you know what? I'm going to just go ahead and play it for y'all on here. Who heard that rant that Tom Cruise went on his crew? I heard it the other day, and he snapped. I don't think snapped is even the word. So in case y'all are wondering, Tom Cruise is currently working on the new Mission Impossible movie. I think it's called Mission Impossible 7. And he's currently, I think, a producer on the movie as well. Of course, he's also in the movie. And he went off on the crew, on some crew members, because they weren't following social distancing or COVID-19 protocols. But I'm going to go ahead and play this audio for you. Let me see, make sure that I got the right one. And that's pretty much the whole audio right there. It was about 2 minutes and 20 seconds long. So you heard that excuse me, you heard that exchange right there. Tom Cruise was popping off on certain members of the crew. And like someone had pointed out in another video that was talking about this, you can tell that whoever recorded this caught this in the middle of his rant. They didn't catch it at the beginning. They caught it at the point where he was yelling. They caught it at the point where his voice started to increase in volume. Appreciate the super chat, Noam King. He says people don't understand how much money production companies lose and have to be compensated for when they have to stop filming because a lead actor has to quarantine for 14 days. His rant was justified. And not only is he the lead actor, he's the producer. Which means when the production of a film or a show has to shut down, all of that comes onto his head, onto his back, onto his shoulders. He's not just acting in this movie, he's a producer. So he's holding way more weight or carrying way more baggage than a lot of other people. And it sounds like to me, he talked to these individuals already in a calm voice, but they didn't listen. Now, before I go any further, a lot of people were bringing up, remember that incident a couple years ago when Tom Cruise was at a premiere and one of those people asked him a question and they squirted water in his face, and how calm he was with that situation? That means somebody or somebody's this time around really pissed him off. Because if you could be calm about someone spraying water in your face, and it didn't even have to be water, it could have been, who knows what it could have been. It could have been a poison. It could have been acid. Who knows? But to go off about this, you can tell he was mad because the movie has been delayed, from what I heard, several times, mainly due to this virus. It's already behind schedule. Every time they have to continue to push production back, they lose money. And that's money he has to most likely pay out of his own pocket that I'm sure he doesn't want to pay. Also, I saw people bringing up the Dallas incident with the restaurant with that man right there. And how he kept having to go back and tell those women to stop twerking in his restaurant, that this wasn't the place for it. And then when he went back again, he popped off on them and people was questioning why he did that. Why was he so loud? They're doing the same thing effectively with Tom Cruise as well. Because like it's work to be done and you're not following the on-set protocols and you're doing your own thing. And if you have to shut down production again, it throws you even further behind. Now, the most recent thing I heard behind this, because this was the first audio and only audio that we've seen. Apparently, he went off on them again and 5 people on the staff quit. So apparently, someone was testing him and thought that he was playing. The point of the matter is when there are certain rules in place and there's money involved and time, do what you're supposed to do. Because I think I've told you before, I've been on television sets, I've been on movie sets. Unless you've been in those positions before, you have no idea the hard work that goes into filming just one scene. And I can only imagine for a movie like Mission Impossible, which is an action movie, how much it is involved with shooting just one scene. In case y'all didn't know, depending on the scene, it can take hours to shoot one scene. So when y'all see or hear about movies taking 6 months to shoot, just imagine each day is a scene. And then you also got to take into consideration the weather. And now you have this virus on top of that. So now it's even more technical. So if he was to ask me, do you feel like he was justified? I do. It's just that they've never seen him be and go off like this. So that's why I call people by surprise. But guess what? Tom Cruise has 2 things on his side. One, he's a white man. 2, he's very well paid. He's pretty much a legend in the industry. They're not going to touch him. They're not going to say, oh, he's difficult to work with. He's still going to be able to work. Now, my question is this: if it was a black person in Tom Cruise's position that went off the same exact way that he did, would they get the same treatment? Would they say he's, justified in what he did? Or would they say he's too difficult to work with? And I always say, whenever they say a black person is too difficult to work with in Hollywood, that's usually a telltale sign that they're about to blackball them or whiteball them. They did it with Monique. But yeah, Tom Cruise, he's gonna be okay. He's one of Hollywood's golden boys. Shout out to Gnome King for the super chat. He said, my security company is working with Lionsgate right now. We just got back to work a week ago because somebody popped positive with WooVid. See? If even one person catches something on those set, even though it's a lot of people, they have to shut down the set entirely to quarantine. All it takes is one screw up. The same thing happened with what they're filming the Batman right now, because Robert Pattinson, who's Bruce Wayne Batman, a couple months ago, he ended up catching the virus. They had to shut down production for 2 weeks. Every day lost in a film production or a television production is major time loss and major money loss. Put it to you this way. A big production like the Batman or Mission Impossible, if they lose even 1 day of shooting, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars that they've lost. Imagine losing 2 weeks. And that's money that's coming out of the budget that wasn't even supposed to go to that. I would be pissed too. And many of you in the chat would be as well if you was in that position. Especially if you were the person that was the cause of it happening. You better hope that you don't get fired. You would hope that you don't. But I'm going to go ahead and end the stream on that note. I think I pretty much got out everything that I needed to for this particular stream. Shout out to everybody who came through. Shout out to everybody who liked. If anybody subscribed, shout out to you. Welcome to the channel. Shout out to everybody who donated, whether through PayPal or through the super chat. I greatly appreciate you and everything that you do in support of my channel. Of course, tomorrow we'll be going back to our regularly scheduled program. 10 a.m., 2 p.m., 6 p.m., and 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.